Good morning, my friends. Welcome to our New Testament challenge. Today I'm going to be sharing with you some thoughts and reflections from the 5th chapter of the book of Ephesians, Ephesians chapter 5. Verse 1, really, verse 1 and 2, kind of the end of chapter 4, but it's a good way to start this. Therefore, be imitators of God as beloved children, and live in love as Christ loved us and gave himself up for us, a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. Be imitators of God as beloved children. Think about that. Children copy everything. They watch you and they do exactly what you do. Oftentimes, when you'd rather them not. But children, that's how they learn. They watch. They watch their parents. They watch the adults in their lives. And they imitate because they see that it's something that you do, someone they know and trust. And so they feel like they can do the same. And so we're called to view God as our Heavenly Father, our Heavenly Parent, and to imitate Him, to imitate Christ in what we do and what we say. You know, consider how He interacted with people, and we ought to do the same. Renounce pagan ways. He said, you know, there are things that you did in your old life that don't translate, into the faith. Fornication, impurity of any kind, greed must not be mentioned among you, as is proper among the saints. Out of place is obscene, silly, and vulgar talk. Instead, let there be thanksgiving. Let no one deceive you with empty words. Once you were darkness, now you're light. Live as children of the light. Be careful how you live, not as unwise people, but as wise, making the most of the time, because these days are evil. And then he talks about the Christian household. He goes on, and this can be troublesome, but let's look at this. This next thing. Wives, be subject to your husband as you are to the Lord. A lot of people in today's society say, wives, be subject to your husband, and there's immediate pushback. Some of it has to do with, our culture today and how, we believe that all individuals are worthy, are persons of worth. Some of it pushback has to do with the abuse that women have taken because of the abuse of this passage from men. And so we just got to be careful there. But, listen to what it says. Wives, be subject to your husband as you are to the Lord. Think about that. We're all subject to the Lord. We are all, and I'm subject, you're subject. We have a different, because we believe God has our best interest at heart, and so we are subject to Him. There's that. It is based upon that profound and strong foundation of a relationship. And so we are to do that. And later on, listen to in verse 25, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Christ died for the church. Christ gave himself for the church. Christ came down from heaven for the church. And so it really is a mutual subjecting, a mutual submission. The wives do certain things and the husbands do certain things. And their relationship is the foundation of it and is based upon God's love. And if it's based in God's love, then it is not restricting, but rather it's freeing. It's something to think about. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, in order to make her holy, In the same way, husbands should love their wives as they do their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. For this reason. And each of you, however, should love his wife as himself, and a wife should respect her husband. And so he talks about this. Paul really does a good job if we listen, if we really look at what he's saying, does a good job about what the relationship ought to be and how there is a mutual respect and love between husband and wife. And if it is done according to this, and if God is in the center of it, then, like I said, it's not restricting, it's freeing. And it allows us to truly be the people of God that we're called to be. That's the ultimate goal of that relationship with God and our relationship with each other. We are to lift each other up so that we can be the people of God that we were created to be. Again, good stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.